Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special economic weather report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand. Today we look at figures from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand on credit cards, in particular the limits that banks put on credit cards and the amount that people owe on credit cards. Interestingly, in August, the banks have actually increased their credit limits quite substantially. And you can see here from this chart there's a real spike up. It's up $98 million to $17.67 billion. It's actually the biggest increase in 2 years. It's hard to know exactly what's going on, but it's clear that the banks want people to use their credit cards to spend more. And perhaps the oncoming increase in the GST rate from 12.5% to 15% from October 1 is the trigger here. The banks are giving more people credit to borrow more, to spend more on big ticket items before October 1. But it's clear New Zealanders aren't that keen to go on a spending spree just yet. When you look at the numbers on how much is actually being financed using credit cards, so how much has been borrowed, you can see that's been pretty flat for the last couple of years. And it's up only $26 million in August to $5.3 billion. So there we have, we're allowed to borrow $17.7 billion, but we only borrow $5.3 billion, just about 30%. So even though the banks want us to go out there and borrow, we're not. It's interesting too that the increase in the last month or so, only a quarter of that was taken up in extra borrowing. Now we don't know exactly how much people are spending ahead of the October 1 GST increase. Obviously, we've still got a couple of weeks to go, and some people may leave it to the last minute. But my sense out there in retail land is that New Zealanders aren't keen to go on a huge spending spree before October 1. They still have relatively high household debt, and they're reasonably keen to keep a lid on that, even though prices might increase after October 1. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special economic weather report brought to you in association with the Bank of New Zealand.